What is up, guys? It's Jorge here again. I'm recording my reaction to the NFL draft. We've now completed it. And this year, I, I have some pretty strong feelings about the draft. And I'm going to do it a lot differently than I did last year. Last year, I went a little bit too much in depth for my own liking. Watching back some of my old videos, I kind of went into some stuff that's not really that important. And I'm going to keep it shorter and sweeter this year and only really talk about the Miami Dolphins. I'll kind of go into the first round with everybody, but I'll mostly focus on the Dolphins. This year in the first round, we had the Browns take Baker Mayfield #1 overall, which was a big surprise to most of the media who thought that Sam Darnold was going to go #1 overall. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Darnold. I didn't watch a ton of his film because I assumed he would never make it to Miami. And I watched some Baker, and I really, really liked Baker. Nobody assumed Baker would go #1 overall, but apparently multiple teams had Baker as their #1 quarterback, and I can see why from what I watched. Now, that's here or there. The Browns taking Baker. Some people said they goofed it up, but we'll find out later on. #2, the Giants stuck where they were at. I did not think they would, and I did not think they should. They drafted Saquon Barkley, and as good as he is, to me, it was a horrible decision to take Saquon there. I have now learned that the Bills offered 3 first-round draft picks for that position. The number 12, the number 22, I think it was, and then in the future first round. So they basically drafted Saquon Barkley with 3 first-round draft picks. Not only is that an issue, but you do need a quarterback, regardless if you think Eli is good or not. He's old and he's going to be gone in a few years. So taking Sam Darnold there would have been my choice, or trading back. But you don't take a running back #2 overall. And here's another reason why. Saquon Barkley is now the second highest paid running back in the NFL without ever touching an NFL field. He's the second highest paid running back in the NFL already. That's higher than David Johnson. That's higher than Devontae Freeman, I think was #2. That's higher than Ezekiel. Only Le'Veon Bell, who's on the franchise tag multiple years in a row, is a higher paid NFL running back right now. So you passed up on a quarterback, and you passed up on 3 first-round draft picks for a running back. And I could go into a whole speech about why I think running back is a lot less valuable, but I'll kind of just leave it there. I thought it was a bad decision by the Giants to take Saquon, and that's not taking away from him as a player because he is very, 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 very good. But it's other reasons why I think it was a bad pick. That left Sam Darnold to go #3 to the Jets. Sam Darnold scares me. He's a very, very good player, and I am not happy that he went to the Jets. However, I do think he has ball security issues, throwing the ball and fumbling. That's pretty well known at this point. He's got a hiccup in his mechanics where he kind of loops the ball. He's worked on that, and he's getting better. He is a high floor, middle to high ceiling to me. He's not the highest ceiling. I don't see him being a perennial all-star, but I do see him being an average quarterback. At worst, a good backup, and at best, like a little bit better than Kirk Cousins. Probably around that, top 7 to 10 quarterback in the NFL, probably around there. So I'm sad that the Jets got him, but I'd rather have them have Sam Darnold than Baker Mayfield. #4, the Browns followed that up with another screw up, depending on who you ask, and they got Denzel Ward. That's before Quentin Nelson and Bradley Chubb went. So they got a corner who they definitely needed a corner. But personally, I wasn't a huge fan of Denzel Ward. I think he's good, not great. He wasn't a part of my personal elite defensive tier. I had about 7 guys in that tier, and Denzel Ward was probably the 8th guy. He was a little bit lower rated than them. To me, again, I'm not a scout, but from what I watched, he was just outside that elite tier. Then the Broncos went and got Bradley Chubb. Great pick. He's paired with Von Miller on the other end. They're going to terrorize quarterbacks in that AFC West. Then I think the Colts took Quentin Nelson. So they got 3 extra second-round draft picks and took Quentin Nelson. Great pick by them. They need to protect Andrew Luck if he can come back and play football again. which is still up for question, by the way. Tampa Bay traded back out of 7, and they moved back to 12. This is where Buffalo came up. They traded their first-round pick, so number 12, and 2 second-round picks. And they got Josh Allen. Now, I think Josh Allen is a bad quarterback. I don't think he'll ever amount to anything. And I'm not scared about him. I was actually really, really hoping the Bills would jump ahead of the Dolphins and take Josh Allen. I did not want him to fall to Miami and Miami pick him. And I did want Buffalo to end up with him. So I am very happy that Buffalo moved up and got Josh Allen. Of course, now that I said that, it's going to come back and bite me in the ass, and he's going to be a perennial All-Pro in, a few years. So let's hope I'm right and got this one correct as far as his talent level. Then number 8, let me think here. The Bears, they got Roquan Smith, who I really, really wanted. He was part of my big 3. Well, Roquan Smith, Jerome, James, and Minkah Fitzpatrick were my big 3. And they got Roquan Smith. He's a very, very talented player. I do like him a lot. I think the Bears got a winner there. Number 9, San Francisco took a little bit of a surprise. They got Mike McGlinchey, the offensive tackle. I thought they were going to go Tremaine Edmonds as kind of a Patrick Willis replacement. But they got Mike McGlinchey. They do need to protect Garoppolo. So they have since traded one of their tackles to the Patriots. But Mike McGlinchey will be their left tackle, I'm pretty sure. So, or he might be right tackle for them. But he'll be in tackle, and he'll help protect Garoppolo. Number 10 was the Oakland Raiders. They actually traded back to Arizona. At this point, Josh Rosen has not been picked. So there's a whole bunch of thought process going into, oh my gosh, Miami's going to have Josh Rosen available. What are they going to do? And Arizona thought the exact same thing. So they moved ahead of Miami, and they really kind of fleeced the Raiders. They only gave up, I think, a third and a fifth to move up 5 spots, which was nothing in comparison to a lot of the other stuff that got traded. And they went up and they got Josh Rosen. I thought this was a great move for them. I did like Josh Rosen quite a bit. I think he's the best pure passer in this draft. He's a high floor, middle to high ceiling, kind of like Sam Darnold to me. He's relative to him. I think they're going to be kind of close to the same, or at least they could be. So, good pickup by them. And it made it easier for Miami because at 11 we had Derwin James, Tremaine Edmonds, and Minkah Fitzpatrick, who were all in my elite tier. And Miami took Minkah Fitzpatrick, who was Derwin and James and him were my top 2. It flip-flopped back and forth many times. I actually am happier now that we got Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think at the time I wanted Derwin James more because he's a better athlete overall. He's a freak of nature. He's a great leader. But Minkah Fitzpatrick is also a great leader. Minkah Fitzpatrick is known as Saban's son because he has such a personality close to Saban. He was kind of a coach on the field. I've heard all kinds of stories since then about his personality and his character, and everybody says good things about him. Everybody. I just watched a clip where Ray Lewis and Colin Cowherd said he's probably the safest pick in the entire draft. He's got football intellect. He has got character. He's got heart. He's a great leader. And he knows things that people his age and people at his level generally don't know yet. He seems to have a savvy about him and a nuance that most people don't have anyway. And he puts in the work on and off the field like nobody's business. He is somebody that's going to come in and help change the culture. He's going to be a great leader. I could see him being a captain pretty early on. And I think this guy is really, really, really going to help Miami's secondary for years to come. I'm not really big on getting jerseys because people get traded. Jarvis Landry, the only jersey I've bought in my entire life. And I had it for 1 season. He got traded. But I am very highly considering getting a Minkah Fitzpatrick jersey. I think he is going to be an awesome player, Pro Bowler for sure, in the future to come for Miami. And I'm very happy about the pick. Now from there, we can go kind of more notable picks. After that, Buffalo moved up to get Josh Allen. Then they moved back they were at 22 as well. They didn't give up 22 in the trade. They moved up to, I want to say, 16 or 17, and they ended up getting Tremaine Edmonds, one of my elite tier, and they got him at 16 or 17. So that was a great move by Buffalo. The other one was, I'm pretty sure Buffalo moved up to, it was either 16 or 18, because I know San Diego was at 17, and they got Derwin James. Derwin James went that late in the draft, and he went to San Diego, who already has a good defense, man. That was such a good pick for San Diego. I loved it. Great pick. The 20s, however, ended up coming out with some crazy draft picks. Seattle took Rashad Penny. They had moved it back in the draft. A few, I think it was five or so picks or whatever, maybe 10. I'm not quite sure exactly where they were before. But they moved back in the draft, and then they took Rashad Penny, who was like my 5th or 6th best running back available at the time. Horrible pick, in my personal opinion. Again, I'm not a scout, but a terrible pick in my opinion. But there was one even worse than that, and it's Nico, my best friend, is a Steelers fan. The Steelers took Tremaine Edmonds' brother, Terrell Edmonds, who to almost everybody was outside their top 60 to 70 picks. Nobody had him even in the second round. Not one scout. I looked through multiple articles and probably 20 mock drafts. Nobody had him inside their second round. He's an athletic freak like his brother, but he doesn't know what he's doing on the football field, it seems like, and his technique is bad, and it was a horrible pick in my opinion. That's the worst pick for the talent level of a player drafted in the first round. But you can make the argument that the Saints had actually the worst pick because they traded up to the Packers at 14. They gave up a future first-round pick for next year, and they got Marcus Davenport. Everybody on the planet thought they were going to be going with Lamar Jackson. They traded 2 first-round draft picks to move up. Lamar Jackson was sitting there. Everybody thought they were going with Lamar Jackson, and they drafted Marcus Davenport, who's a raw defensive end, might not contribute a ton right away, and they gave up a future first, which means even next year they don't have a first-round draft pick to use on a quarterback. Horrible pick in my opinion. Again, he can very well turn out to be great, but they used 2 first-round draft picks on him. Similar to the Saquon Barkley thought process that they actually used 3 draft picks, but in this case, the Saints actually did use 2 first-round draft picks to get Marcus Davenport because they traded one away to get there and draft him. Other notable picks, the Ravens took a tight end, and it was Hayden Hurst, 25-year-old Hayden Hurst. He played pro baseball first. They had moved back a few to the middle of the first round or middle of the 20s. And they got Hayden Hurst, and then they used some draft capital to move back up. And with the last pick of the first round, they got Lamar Jackson. So the Ravens got Lamar Jackson. There were 5 wide receivers taken in the first round for only the second time in like 20 years. There were 7 running backs taken in the first and second round, which was crazy. That's only happened twice as well, which also makes the Barkley pick look that much worse because the running back depth was insane. What was available at the time, the Giants could have went Sam Darnold and then Darius Geis in the second round. He was available until almost the third round, but they could have went Darius Geis and Sam Darnold. So overall, I'm not going to go through anybody else's picks except Miami's from here out. But the second round, we got Mike Gesicki, the athletic freak. Yeah, he is an insane athlete, guys. He's a tight end from Penn State. Relative athletic score, RAS. They've done 780 different people in the history of the RAS, and he is number 3 all time. This is a relative athletic score. It's scoring prospects' athletic abilities or testing compared to those of his position. He was the 3rd biggest differential to the average of his position out of anybody ever. So the only thing he was less than average in was his weight, which is not really an athletic tribute or trait. His vertical is his speed, his agilities, his explosiveness, all of it was out of this roof. The dude's an athletic freak. He has some issues, and those are mainly blocking. He's a bad blocker. The only thing he's good at blocking is Dolphins Twitter. He went and found everybody who talked bad about him and blocked everybody. I'm blocked. He's the only person I know that's ever blocked me on Twitter because I said he plays soft and he doesn't block well. Well, he proved he can block well. He blocked all of us. I hope he comes back around and he changes his mind and he unblocks all of us. We're huge fans of you, Gesicki. We're just pointing out some flaws, dude. You're an athletic freak. We love you. You're going to be great in our offense. He's a wide ISO athlete. We're going to put him on the backside. He's got to run routes against linebackers or safeties, and he's going to dominate them. He's what Adam Gase has been looking for since he got here. Jordan Cameron couldn't do it. Julius Thomas couldn't do it. None of our other tight ends could do it. A.J. Derby, he tried. He can't do it. This guy is gonna win one-on-ones against against some corners, but then safeties and linebackers when we ISO him. And if they have to put a corner on him, then somebody else has a good matchup. So this guy is a matchup nightmare for other teams, and I am super excited that we got him. After that, in the the third round, we got Jerome Baker. He was running mate of Raekwon McMillan, our middle linebacker now, who we drafted last year in the second round. This year, in the third round, we got Jerome Baker. Jerome Baker is the size of a very, very small linebacker. He's a little bit smaller than Roquan Smith, but both of them are undersized for sure. Jerome Baker is very, very fast. He's a very fast linebacker. He's a good coverage linebacker. He's going to be our matchup guy. We're going to stick him on guys like Gesicki or on running backs that are quick and shifty. He will help guard those kind of players. He's not going to help you in the run game all that much other than chasing down backside. He's going to be a weak side linebacker type or nickel backer type. He won't. I don't think he'll be a 3-down player. I think we'll put Kiko in there or TJ McDonald in there on first downs, but he will definitely get playing time, and he will definitely be the guy that we kind of match up on running backs or tight ends when we're having a little bit of an issue with them. He will chase down plays from behind. He will help set the edge because he's very fast. He can get to the edge very fast. It was a solid pick. Wasn't my favorite pick of the draft, but I'm happy we got a linebacker that is good at everything Kiko Alonso sucks at, and he does suck at it. So Jerome Baker probably be a future. He'll replace Kiko in the future. So excited about him. In the fourth round, we got Durham Smith. It looks like Smythe, but I guess it's Smith. Durham Smith was a tight end from Notre Dame. He's the exact opposite of Gesicki. He is a pure blocker, outstanding blocker. He didn't have very many catches, but it looks like he has some potential there. They just didn't use him that way. So he's going to be the guy in two tight end sets that seals the edge. He was blocking. I saw a few clips of him destroying Bradley Chubb. He sealed Bradley Chubb. That's a tight end stealing the fifth draft pick of the draft. You know, the best defensive end of the draft. This guy's a good blocker. I'm very excited that we got him. It might have been a little early to draft a guy that's going to be your second, maybe third tight end, but he's going to be useful. We're going to use him for sure. We didn't have a fifth round pick, but in the sixth round, we took a guy named Cornell Armstrong. This guy is I haven't gotten into his tape, to be honest with you, but everything I hear from our big guys, CK Parrott and those guys, is that he has high potential. He looked great. It was a solid value pick. He's going to be one of your athletic corners, a little bit smaller, I think he was. He says he models his game after Brent Grimes. Now, Brent Grimes is a player, regardless of his off-the-field shit. As a player, he's a very solid player. So if he's anything like Brent Grimes, he's going to be useful in the future, and he's fast, so he's already going to be a special teamer, I'm sure. He'll be a good special teamer for us. In the seventh round, we took a linebacker named Poling. I'm spacing on his first name. He's out of Ohio. I don't know if he's going to be anything other than a special teamer. He doesn't look particularly good. Everything I'm hearing is he's probably just a special teamer fighting for one of the last linebacker spots on the team. Good luck, though, because we have some good special teamers already. Mike Cole is a very good special teamer. Then in the very last seventh round pick we had, we took a kicker from New Mexico, Jason Sanders. He's only a 71% field goal kicker in college. That's horrible for wasting a draft pick on him. Eddie Pinheiro was there, who's a very accurate and very good kicker. But I do trust our special teams coach, Darren Rizzi. If he wanted Jason Sanders, I'm okay with the pick. I knew we needed a kicker. I've always said, some people hate the idea of drafting kickers, but to me, the 6th and 7th round are guys who are fighting for special teams anyway. The kicker is probably the most important special teams player, as much as I hate to say that because I hate kickers. But they are very important. They lose you games, and they can help, seal a game, but they can definitely lose you a game. And so I want a good kicker. Now, this kid apparently has a leg. He can boot 70-yard field goal in practice. So we'll see if he can do anything with them. We brought in competition from undrafted free agents. There's a lot of those guys. I'm not going to go into them right now. I don't know much about them. They're probably just fighting for last special team spots. But anyway, overall, I thought this was a very, very solid draft. Nobody that we drafted was a huge reach. I felt this was a very safe draft. Everybody we drafted should definitely contribute in one way or another. Maybe those last few guys don't make the team, but those just 6th or 7th round draft picks. I see these guys having a role, a specific role. That's anywhere from Durham Smythe, the blocking tight end. He's going to have a role. Gesicki's going to have a role. Jerome Baker's going to be a nickelbacker or a coverage guy. He's going to have a role. Oh, I've totally spaced out on Karen Ballage, the other 4th round draft pick. He's a running back who I was very, very high on. I didn't want to draft him any earlier than the 4th round because he has his flaws too. But he is a lot like Kenyon Drake. Tall, very strong, very fast. Running back, has some other issues of vision and doesn't always run with power. But the dude can catch out of the backfield and he can pass protect. He's a lot like Kenyon Drake, and I like the pick. He's going to be a good match. So sorry I forgot about him, but I thought he was the best day 3 pick that we had. So they're all going to have a role anyway. And I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to be a culture changer. He's going to transform our defense, and our defense is going to be really freaking good this year. I'm super excited. We're going to be in a nickel way more than we used to be, which means only having 2 linebackers and 5 DBs in the 4-down linemen. I could see it going something like this: Xavier Howard, Cordrea Tinkersley. Then you got Rashad Jones and Minkah Fitzpatrick. Then you probably have Raekwon McMillan and Kiko Alonso on the field. And then you either have TJ McDonald, Jerome Baker, Bobby McCain will be in there on nickel almost all the time. Bobby McCain's a stud, so he's probably in there too. But the guys fighting for that second linebacker, the nickelbacker spot, are going to be TJ McDonald, Jerome Baker, Kiko Alonso. And that's not even counting Stephen Anthony and other guys too. But this defense is way faster than it was last year. Our offense is way faster than it was last year. We're way more athletic than we were before. I see the vision. I am excited about this year. I thought this draft was a very solid draft. We didn't pick up any defensive tackles in the draft itself. We picked up a few undrafted free agents. We do need depth. I'm kind of hoping we sign John Hankins. As soon as the June 1st happens, we get more money for the Ndamukong Suh cut. I think we should try to get a veteran defensive tackle there. And if we do get a veteran defensive tackle, I'm going to give this an A draft. It's my favorite draft I can ever think of. That as far as me covering the team as much as I do, this has been my favorite draft so far. If we don't get a defensive tackle, I think it's kind of a B+. It's kind of an important need right now. The guys we have are very good and young, but we need more rotation. We are going to be using William Hayes probably more as a defensive tackle as well. We have ways to cover for it, but I think we need somebody else in there to help the young guys out and keep them focused and keep them pushing and working hard. Anyway, this video is getting kind of long. I didn't want to go too long. I think this draft was awesome. I'm super excited. I'm probably going to get a Minkah Fitzpatrick jersey. This dude is going to help transform our team, and I'm super happy we got him, and the rest of the draft was awesome too. Let's go Fins up, baby. Can't wait for the season.